Welcome back to another Monday Market Update. My name is Brad Lupkus with Frontier Bank Wealth Management and Trust, and here's what the markets did last week. Last week was a mixed bag for investors as the markets started off by most of the major indexes setting all-time highs at the beginning of last week, only to see some of those markets pull back and actually finish lower on the week. The S&P 500 finished down almost 1% last week. Its year-to-date numbers, though, are still up 15.4% on the year. The Russell 2000, which looks at the performance of small companies here in the United States, that index finished in positive territory last week. It was up 1%, and its year-to-date numbers are up over 16%. If we turn our attention to overseas, the developed market index was down 0.5% last week, and its year-to-date numbers now are sitting at 5.3%. The emerging markets index finished up 0.5% last week, and year-to-date those totals now are sitting at 15.36% for the year. So as I mentioned at the beginning, a lot of mixed results for investors. Economic news, big financial news. Obviously, everything right now centers around the development of the vaccine and the authorization last week from the FDA of Pfizer's vaccine that they are going to begin rolling out here this week. Now, that news, along with progress that is being made on vaccines from AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson, certainly lead us to feel optimistic and very positive about what's coming here in the future, with hopefully an end to this pandemic. Now, this brightened outlook for the longer term, unfortunately, is offset by some very troubling things that we're seeing here in the short term. All of us are well aware of the rising cases that we are seeing right now. Last week, unfortunately, we saw record highs for hospitalizations from the coronavirus. And this has obviously led to some parts of the country re-implementing lockdowns, which has slowed down our economic recovery. Now, the good news is that if you are a long-term investor, none of this news should be keeping you awake at night. And I don't say that to try to downplay what we are going through right now. There are some very serious things that we are trying to work through as a country and trying to get past when it comes to this pandemic. But if you are a long-term investor, your focus is not necessarily on what's happening right now. It should be on what's going to be happening in the next couple months or even the next couple years. And if that is your perspective, there are very good reasons to be optimistic, even in the middle of a pandemic that we are sitting in right now. This pandemic will come to an end. We will get to life. Our lives will return to normal, and our economy will recover, hopefully back to levels that we saw pre-pandemic, and then far above those moving forward into the future. So my advice is always, even if you are worried about what's going on right now, try to keep your focus on the long term and try to stick to keep your emotions out of your investments. Thank you again for watching this week. If you do have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below, and we'll see you next week.